Assalamu alaikum dear students. Now the lecture 2 on the chemistry of purine, pyrimidines, nucleosides and nucleotides. These purine and pyrimidines, they are basically the nitrogen containing heterocycles. Their cycles not only contain the carbon and hydrogen, but they also contain the heterocycles, that is the nitrogen atom also contained in their cycles. So they are the heterocycles and they are the cyclic structures. Both purine and pyrimidines, they contain the cyclic structure. They are the heterocycles, that is the nitrogen is present in their cycles, and also they contain the cyclic structures. So they are known as the nitrogen containing heterocycles. The nitrogen, they form their cycles as a heterocycles. Along with the purine name is smaller but their structure is longer. While if we look at the pyrimidine, then the name is longer but their structure is smaller. Only one cycle is present, but here the two cycles, they are joined to form a purine base. Both purine and pyrimidine, they are present in the DNA and RNA. In DNA, the purine, adenine and guanine, while in RNA, the pyrimidine, cytosine, uracil and thymine, they are commonly present. However, the modified purine and pyrimidines are also present in DNA and also in RNA. If we numbered the purine ring, then it is the anti-clockwise, like this one. This numbering is anti-clockwise. Here we start the number 1 nitrogen from here is at this position, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. This cycle, it shows the anti-clockwise numbering of the ring. But in case of pyrimidine, there is a clockwise numbering of this ring. Number 1 is started, or number 1 position started here, then 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. This one is the clockwise numbering of this ring. Purine showed the anti-clockwise numbering while the pyrimidine, it shows the clockwise numbering 1 2 3 4 5 6. And also by this number we can discuss that at which position the hydrogen, it can be protonated with the nitrogen, and at which position the tautomerism can exist, and also the N-glycosidic bond can be formed at which position. Mostly N9 of the purine and N1 of the pyrimidine, it form the N-glycosidic bond. The N-glycosidic bond, it is the rigid and stable bond, and N9 of purine and 1 of the pyrimidine, they can form the N-glycosidic bond. The purine and pyrimidine having the amino group, they are the weak bases. Their pKa values, that is about 3 to 4, and they at low pH, when there is a high concentration of hydrogen ion. Hydrogen ion, when high in the solution, it means it can protonated the compound. And this protonation not only take place at the exocyclic amino group but also on the ring nitrogen, means number 1 of the adenine, number 7 of the nitrogen, number 7 of the guanine, and N3 of the cytosine. All of these nitrogen, they are present in the ring. While this protonation also take place with the amino group, which is exocyclic, mean out of the ring. So amino group or nitrogen may be present exocyclic or may be present in the ring. In the ring, they can be protonated at different nitrogen, N1 of adenine, N7 of guanine, and N3 of cytosine. Another character of these purine and pyrimidines are there. They are the planar. Planar means they are planar on the surface, both purine and pyrimidines, and due to this planar characters, they form the stacking interactions. These stacking interactions, they stabilize the double-stranded DNA. So the DNA can also be stabilized not only by the hydrogen bond, not only by the hydrophobic interactions, not only by the base pairing, but also they are stabilized by the stacking interaction, stabilize the double-stranded DNA. The planar character of purine and pyrimidine, they facilitate their close association stacking interaction that stabilize the double-stranded DNA. These are the different forms of purine and pyrimidines that exhibit in the DNA as well as in RNA. These are the different forms. The adenine, adenosine, or adenine when it combined with the X group, X may be it is a ribose and also it is the phosphate group. When it is only attached with the ribose, then it forms the adenosine, and when it attached to the phosphate group, then ribose phosphate, it forms the nucleotide. So a nitrogenous base when attached with the ribose, it forms a nucleoside, and when it again this nucleoside attached with the phosphate group, then it forms the nucleotides. There are 5 different types of nucleotides commonly present in both DNA and RNA. The DNA contains the thymine, while the RNA instead of thymine they contain the uracil. This is the purine, adenine, here the exocyclic amino group, and this one is the amino tautomerism take place. This is the ketotautomerism, here the guanine oxo group, and here is the amino group guanosine and guanosine monophosphate. When there is a phosphate attachment, the nucleotide will be guanosine monophosphate. Similarly, in this case, the amino group, this is the cytosine, and cytosine, they when it attached with the ribose sugar cytidine and cytidine monophosphate. Similarly, uracil oxo group present in both positions, and this oxouracil and uridine monophosphate. And in case of thymine, the uracil, when it is methylated, then it forms the thymine. Thymine, it is present only in the DNA, so there is a deoxyribose sugar is present, and this forms the thymidine and thymidine monophosphate. These are the different types of nucleotides. These are the different types of nucleotides which are present in both DNA and RNA. Then the nucleotides, they are the nucleosides, they are the N-glycosides. Means when ribose sugars are attached with any nitrogenous base, they form the nucleosides, and nucleosides, they are only the glycosides. These glycosides, they are basically the bond is N-glycosidic. One is the ribose sugar, and this ribose may be 2' deoxyribose or may be 2' hydroxyl group present at this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 pentose sugar, and this pentose sugar may be 2' deoxy or maybe there is no there is simple ribose sugar. Similarly, the adenosine, cytidine, guanosine, uridine, these are the different types of ribose sugars, and if there is a methylation, then thymidine. Thymidine, it contains the deoxyribose sugars. This bond, it is the N-glycosidic. It is the rigid bond, it is the stable bond, and it is not easily hydrolyzable. This N-glycosidic, one is the ribose sugar and other is the non-carbohydrate moiety, and by this N-glycosidic bond, which is the beta in position beta N-glycosidic bond, and this N-glycosidic bond, it can combine this nitrogenous base with this ribose sugar or deoxyribose sugar. These nucleosides, these are basically the derivatives of purine and pyrimidines, and here the sugar, it is linked to nitrogen of a purine or pyrimidine. The nitrogen number 9 of the purine and nitrogen number 1 of the pyrimidine. And the numerals with the prime, these numerals of the sugar, it start with the 2 prime 3 prime to differentiate between the ribose numbering as well as the nitrogen base numbering. And the sugar in ribonucleoside, it is the D-ribose, while the deoxyribonucleoside, it is 2 prime deoxy D-ribose. And these both sugars, they are linked by a beta N, not alpha N, but beta N glycosidic bond. And here the N1 of the pyrimidine or N9 of a purine. Here is the beta N glycosidic, not alpha. It is the beta N glycosidic bond. Yes, this one is the type of mistake. Nucleotides, these are phosphorylated. Nucleotides are phosphorylated, and the 3 prime end of the ribose sugars as well as the 5 prime end, they can be phosphorylated. And by this phosphorylation, it can also be formed the 3 prime to 5 prime phosphodiester bond. The 3 prime and 5 prime nucleotides, they can form the phosphodiester bond. In case of, for example, if these nitrogen bases, they are triphosphorylated, then here the one bond, it is the ester bond, and the other two terminal phosphoryl groups, they form the acid anhydride bonds. The nucleoside monophosphate, the first phosphorylation, it is the ester linkage, while the other linkages, they form the acid anhydride. This is the adenosine triphosphate. This one is the adenosine, adenine. Adenine can join with this ribose sugar with the beta N glycosidic bond, and this beta N glycosidic bond then join with 3 phosphate group. Here are the 3 phosphate group, like this one is the first, this one is the alpha, then beta, and then gamma. The glycosidic bond, the bond between these two, this one is the acid anhydride. One acid anhydride, this is one acid anhydride bond, and other is the acid anhydride bond. There are the two acid anhydride bond, and one is the ester linkage. This is the ester linkage. One is the ester linkage. This is the one is the ester linkage. And so this ester linkage, it is stable as compared to these two acid anhydride bond. This ester linkage, it is stable, while these two ester anhydride bond, they are unstable. They can be hydrolyzed and give rise to the 7.2 kilocalories per mole energy. So on hydrolysis, they give rise to the 7.2 kilocalories energy, and while this ester linkage, this is the most stable. The ester linkage is found between the alpha alpha phosphate group and the beta and gamma, the terminal phosphate groups, form the acid anhydride bond. So it means that these acid anhydride bond, they are these acid anhydride form, they can break the terminal 2 phosphate groups very easy and give rise to the energy. Mostly the phosphorylation in the reactions and the ATP dependent reactions, they can form the they can release the energy by breaking of these two terminal bonds. They are the high energy bond. The heterocycles, the N-glycosides, they form the syn and anti-conformers. This is the anti, this one is the beta N-glycosidic bond, and this beta N-glycosidic form, it forms the syn conformers. Here the position is at this one, this ring. But in the anti-conformers, here the position is like this one. But it is not easy to only revert these positions. By the breaking of this beta and glycosidic bond, which is not easy, we can interchange these two conformers. The predominant conformer is this one. Anti-conformer, it is the predominant conformer because it is present. Nucleoside triphosphate, they have the high group transfer potential. They The terminal phosphate groups, that is the beta and gamma, they are formed by the acid anhydride bond. So and the alpha phosphate group, it is formed by the ester bond. The acid anhydride bond, it is a high energy bond. It can be hydrolyzed easily and give rise to the energy about 7.2 kilocalories per mole in energy has been given. So these bonds, they are used for coupling of the endergonic reaction as well as the phosphorylation of different compounds. The terminal phosphate groups also given to these to activate most of the compounds so as to form in different pathways. The acid anhydride bond, it is used for the high group transfer potential del G naught prime for the hydrolysis of each terminal beta and gamma phosphate phosphoryl group. As I have already told you that 7 kilocalories per mole energy has been released. However, the equation here, there is a transfer of the nucleotide monophosphate with the release of in PPI. Then the pyrophosphorylase, it can break this PPI to 2 inorganic phosphate. During the synthesis of DNA and RNA, nucleotide triphosphate act as a substrate, and NP, the nucleotide monophosphate, it has been incorporated, or nucleoside monophosphate, it has been incorporated into the DNA and RNA with the release of PPI. Further breakage of this PPI, it releases the energy, and it favors the reaction in the forward direction. So the nucleoside monophosphate, it is the usual compound which is incorporated into both DNA and RNA.